came from Ellen Winter in New York.
One thing I really failed to cover, and I'm sure that you have to qualify an expert. I think the way to approach this is you want to present as perfectly as you can who this person is and what they have to say. It's a real challenge to you. It's an art. Now, until they are qualified as an expert, they're obviously not able to testify as an expert. So you have to go through their qualifications. What you're really doing is saying who this person is. This person is the Milbank Professor of International Law at Princeton University. And lawyers, when they do it, they really lay it on, you know. I mean, you don't want to exaggerate, but you want them to understand, because they haven't heard of Richard Paul. But you want them to really understand that this is a very learned person who has devoted the major part of his adult life to this field that he's going to tell them about. So you want to present them as perfectly as you can, who he is, who she is, and tell them all about, what their qualifications are, and then you ask the judge to recognize that they are qualified as an expert witness. And then you ask your questions about this is what it is they have to say that's relevant to this trial. And you want them to, and you want to do that in a way that's as effective and as efficient as you can.
Ramsey, it occurs to me that as to congressional witnesses, that might be called congressional friends, they could be introduced as people who can testify as experts to the extent that they can say that the legislative process has not been responsive to the responsibility of this country to adhere to international law, and that they have personally participated in the process, and that the urgency is not met through the slow wheels of Congress, in that they have tried to cut off appropriations, they have tried to introduce legislation, they have tried to do a lot of things, but the war machine goes on. And I'm wondering, does that seem like something sensible to you, that would be a way of using them?
It's two-edged. I wouldn't do it quite that way, because it implies that the law is still against you, and it invites the judge to say, well, Mr. Congressman, we don't want to hear about the laws that weren't passed. We're here to judge the laws that were passed. So if you're not careful, it leads you to a footnote. Basically, you want a real lean line. The first is to qualify the person. If it's a member of the Congress, who they are, what their background is, what committees they serve on, and then when you get to their subject matter, you want as much affirmative testimony as you can get. What the international law is, what the struggle for in the Congress has been, and where it's succeeded. Not that you don't mention places where it's failed, but you finally have the burden of establishing that it has succeeded sufficiently to create this defense for you.
At tax time, love is the chief missionary.
Is that just one copy, Michael, of all right, or are there multiple copies?
Multiple copies. Each little packet is the same. So there's maybe 10 copies of what we have. This includes all the statements that I mentioned. So there's 7 or 8 here's copies.
Well, maybe we have enough at this point and we can meet again after supper. Are we not going out? Yeah. Are there separate plans for the night?
Well, we were going to have supper with our family, and then we're thinking of dropping by at Mercy for a while. But we could be back by 9 or so. Okay. If you want to meet later. Yeah, which I think we should. I think we need to.
Tomorrow's a long, long day. A lot of important stuff. You really have to be up tomorrow, and not only up in the morning, up in the afternoon, and up in the
evening.
Yeah,
it's a great stimulus to our being up to consider that these characters are earning a living for a change. I feel very good about the fact that we're putting them to work. So, that may not be the highest motive, but most of them are.
But it's an honorable motive.
I think so.
Berrigan for the work ethic.
Right. Calvin to the core.
In the light of the fact that the court will probably go all day and all evening tomorrow, on the witnesses that I have down listed for Tuesday, Bob Aldrich, I think, is going to leave Wednesday morning, so it's not a possible day for him. But Robert Lifton, George Wald, Richard Crawford, Paul DeGutt, I should call them this afternoon to tell them whether we want them tomorrow or Wednesday.
Could you go?
Okay. Robert Rifkin. You can come anytime from, I think, tomorrow afternoon. Do you have one of these sheets? Here, Van. Here.
I think they could come in the evening or the next day, because we've got Robert Aldrich, we've got our personal testimony, we've got some character witnesses already on hand that could be present. So I'd say Wednesday is my sense.
Yeah, you have flexibility more with opening statements and then your own testimony. You can be flexible that way. Some people testify and.
Y'all can be the martyr between the bricks too, you know, the defendants that hold it all together, which really means that it's unusual. You have quite a bit of flexibility in how you put your witnesses on. Obviously, you want to put them on in the best fashion, but you don't have to worry, as you usually do in a trial, that you'll be caught without a witness, as long as you're all prepared.
Which one has to go tomorrow?
Aldrich.
Can we get him tomorrow?
What is this plate?
He's gonna leave Wednesday morning, so he'll be
Is
here.
it already set, his foot?
Yeah, those are the ones that I need, yeah. He's leaving looking forward to going home.
Yeah, is there a time constriction in terms of Wednesday morning when he'd have to be on?
Yeah, you'd have to be on by 10 at the latest.
We have to testify Tuesday.
Tuesday.
You have to get him in tomorrow.
What's he testify about?
The strike at Mark 12A particularly.
Lockheed Engineering.
Wow, that'll really throw that up early in the morning.
Unless to get him on something effective, that we go in, the defendants go in and say, Your Honor, we're willing to stipulate all this. We don't want a lot of time in getting exhibits put in. We agree that's the nose cone and that's the shoes and they're the this and they're the that. And
I think that was
just let them
everyone's
put their
intention
witnesses
anyway.
on.
We don't want to sit through,
got
you know,
5 or
and
6
I
witnesses
took
that
this pair
way.
of pants from so-and-so and this pair of shoes from somebody else.
The only, it seems to be the only sore point on stipulation is those accusations of violence.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah.
right.
You'll
I
stipulate
mean, physical evidence itself, he could
Yeah.
take a couple hours to submit in that.
Those you'll agree to that.
We'll stipulate.
As long as we have the nose cones out there. they've
We'll
got to be
stipulate
on.
to the nose cones if we can see them.
We can see them.
I want to see one of those, y'all.
Yeah, I've seen them.
I see one of those nose cones.
I've seen them. They have a dented nose.
I never even wanted to see one, but you got my curiosity.
I can see the movie or play coming out is the Return of the Nose Cone. Well, we've never gotten a quid pro quo though, you know, we stipulate, but what do they offer? You know, would he offer, he'd say, well, the time to be made up, I'll give you no evening session, but I sure am not going to give you expert witnesses in front of the jury. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
What can we gain from this sort of thing?
Well, maybe he would agree to no evening session at least,
Yeah.
because I think that's important to us. The drain on energy is going to be very noticeable, and
He's not going to have another evening session in all probability.
no.
He's doing this to show what a diligent judge he is, you know, what a hard-working
And then
judge
he
is.
said he would do it.
He said he would do
We'll
it.
never back down.
Particularly if you put on some tennis points.
Yeah.
Then we're sure of it.
But he just might come in tomorrow morning. We change his plan.
But does he have an expectation of what he wants to get through tomorrow? Is that, you know, is it possible that it
that.
You remember his expectation last Monday?
Very well.
Get over in jail now.
Could
Oh, we're in a meeting with
Monday,
the defendants, but
and Conroy, I think we'd rather not come till Thursday.
jury selection was completed and we,
She will
the
come
opening
in.
statements were made
So what do you want me to ask?
by both the comments and the defense.
I think, tell her,
And,
you know, to come Thursday.
testimony will start
What are
tomorrow.
you going to say?
Yes.
But we might want to wait. I
So,
said.
Well, the judge has indicated that we're gonna go all day tomorrow in the evening
Elizabeth
session.
Carroll
We'll meet then.
So it's possible, depending on what it's almost case, that we could start tomorrow night or.
Now, you don't want us tonight, call.
Thank you.
We
We know where to call.
We don't have
Yeah, that's good numbers.
I don't know where I-
with the Commonwealth a lot.
I'll give you my number.
We don't talk to the Commonwealth a lot.
You have a
The
572 1208.
So, you know, anyway.
Yeah.
So it
1208.
could go quickly tomorrow.
Friendly machine gun center.
That's for,
I will back it up.
Wednesday morning, something like that.
And I can get hold of Michael if you need him.
Okay.
Well, that depends on the schedules of other witnesses. We'll have to really play that by ear.
3852. 539 3852.
Norm and I.
Can I give you a,
away from our
press
home.
attache on the phone and let
So
me,
we don't have
let me
anything else to
finish
do
doing
anyway.
Grassy. Let me,
Except, you know, we've all got reading.
this is one
stuff.
from CBS.
If you'd like us just to drop a line, we can do
I'll get that, yeah.
that. But at the very least, we want to know that we'll be available immediately if you need us, so you won't have to, because you really need to get rest too, you know.
Yeah. Are you folks still at the same place?
Yeah.
Since we've moved down here to Norristown.
There was the VA calls itinerant gypsies.
Why don't we drop by?
Just give me a call.
Just to see
So,
what's
I don't want to grab you, you know, I go, pin them against the wall.
You supply the scotch and we'll supply the third.
No problem.
You got you covered.
Okay. That's a no-lose proposition for us.
See, I felt it was conventional for you to say in front of the cameras that you didn't know where you were.
Never played
And they
that
got it down.
I've been asking for some.
It is a problem. This is Pennsylvania, you know. Good
That's
old
with these
Norristown.
These technical lawyers like Berrigan, I don't know where I'm spending the night. I don't know where I'll be at 9 o'clock because I've been evicted from my last dwelling.
It was Montgomery County Prison.
We're not that sure about eternity either, Dan.
How Ken Spellman never sees this.
Let's get into that one.
Yeah,
Let's get into that, yeah.
We weren't evicted.
We're just trying to postpone eternity, is what this whole action's about. So, I think that's an honorable objective.
We'll see y'all at 10 tonight.
Okay.
These get passed around?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I gave John,
John
7 copies. I only got this,
Right.
you can have these, I just might want to keep one copy in case.
And with blood.
That's all right. I can get it.
This is a good one. She gives us something.
Maybe if we came in without answers.
He would be more inclined to give us the nose cone subject. If we could to meet up with his cartoon.
That's right.
I think he'd be more amenable to that.
Just use the real nose.
Okay, so we'll meet you tomorrow.
You're gonna Carol and Jerry.
Well, there goes our party theme, baby.
I know it.
Oh, this judge is a fun hater. I can forgive him anything but this.
Really, you know.
I guess that's about it for here.
We'll have some more.
I have one more witness question. Dr. Jonah House.
Get there.
He's coming, he's
I think
really
he-
busy, so he made it evident that he was coming as a sacrifice, that he would come.
Oh,
Who's that?
The one, Philip Morrison, the physics professor at MIT.
Well, you tell him we came at a sacrifice too.
Yeah, does he testify to something that someone else will not? That's really the question.
I think he took the grades.
Does anybody knows him? No. No.
You know, if he has good credentials, I think it should be used.
Okay.
He's a retread scientist.
No, sacrifice is good for the soul.
Better to sacrifice than to die.
Okay, the other thing is Bishop Kenny's plan. Bishop
What I'm hearing, I'm not sure what positive contribution I'm going to make beyond what you already have.
Okay, I'll tell you what we about real quick. It was going to be, certainly, Bishop, give your,
Do you think that could be blown out of the water? The first time that everybody here is today, except Dan, and that
well,
was...
by reputation.
And he's uncertain about me.
It's within the world's community that you know any of these defendants by reputation, and you know what that reputation is for violence, for peace, for the things that they're charged with.
Well, Dan said I need more characteristics.
Have you ever known them to burglarize a building except, it needs to sleep somewhere, that kind of thing. But it's not that you know them cordially and friendly and intimately over 20 years. Our laws are that way. Most laws are not that way. It's what you know within the hearing of the community. in which you function and they function. And assuming that Dan functions in your community, have you heard of him?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you come to know his reputation within that community for nonviolence
And long needles.
He speaks for 200 bishops,
Yeah.
including Cardinal Kroll.
Yes, you are the representative of the church that's here today, and
John Paul
since
Were you prominent?
he's otherwise occupied opposing nuclear proliferation, as we gather from the media, so you're here speaking on his behalf. But you can speak in general terms about the community and what they think of some of the defendants. I think it's the standard. We're trying to judge whether the bishop could say something, Randy, and I think that's a fair exchange of what would be expected.
Well, there's the Catholic Peace Fellowship, and you know the efforts that they made to go to Washington in order to testify to synagogue. And you were familiar with that whole thing.
And they were blessed by you.
They were blessed by you.
The issues are not the problem. The problem is how valuable I would be as a character witness. And again, putting it, in the light of other things that I am responsible for, I just don't know. I'm not very confident that I would be able to say a lot.
We need to cross-examine a little bit. When would you go home otherwise?
I'll go home tomorrow morning.
Must
To
be
be home
home.
last Wednesday. Pastoral reasons.
You can't really come back if you go home.
No.
It's too far.
12 hours.
Yeah. I think we have to leave it to you a little bit.
Would you be able to admit his testimony tomorrow?
We would try, but I see, we don't regulate tomorrow. Tomorrow is the DA's day. That, to some extent, we regulate when we stipulate as to a lot of admissibility of evidence. But, and if you don't cross-examine a lot of the witnesses, that will certainly speed them up. And then the evening would surely be ours. So if you could do it in the early evening, that would be a possibility. So that, I think we'd say it's possible.
Maybe they could blow a lot of things out of the water because you've got a lot of other testimonies, a lot of other.
Well, they're not indispensable for tomorrow. I think a lot of them can come back
Don't
Wednesday.
you have Aldridge?
See, your testimony is brief. I think while you're here, we could do it.
So that'd be important. I guess I'd want to know, and this is where,
Yes.
and back what Ramsey said
Yeah.
about getting down ahead of time. So what do you want me to say, and what can I say?
Yeah, well, we could go over it specifically, but basically, the range is what I said. It's your knowledge within the community in which you live and travel of any of the defendants, and their reputation for the things they're charged with, especially violence.
It speaks a lot to me that Bishop came from Juneau, Alaska,
Yeah,
and I think that's incredibly
What does it say?
important.
What does it
I
say
think it
to
says
the
a lot.
jury? Would it say much to the jury?
Oh, of course it would. Like, why would this straight-looking man, who obviously has responsibilities,
Should I
and
get my hair cut? No.
no, almost like mine.
Hey, come.
But why come so far? If not to speak the truth about people of truth and peace. I think it's important.
That the Dutch Attorney's case with it.
Yeah.
Tell the judge that we have a witness that's available,
If I don't go home
but
tomorrow,
it's
it's
sufficient.
irrelevant whether I could get up tomorrow because I've already not home perhaps Wednesday.
I understand now.
So that would mean that I could leave Wednesday night at 3.
Well, I think we would try to do it tomorrow as early as possible. And if you left tomorrow evening, you would be home?
Probably. If I left
Because
Wednesday,
time goes with you as you go west.
Yeah, the difficulty there is connections.
Ah.
I could probably leave, well, I'm going to go check. I could probably leave Wednesday morning, following the same schedule that I have, and be home in time for Wednesday night's ceremony. I'll miss the demonstration at the post office. But that's,
We have something here.
Yeah, we'll have something special for you.
Cathedral in Philadelphia and do something.
Yes, Cardinal
Cardinal.
comment upon it.
Talk to the Cardinal.
Did anyone ever ask the Cardinal to come testify?
Not yet, but I was going to get George Schwartz to do that. He's a former president of City Council that the Cardinal sent a letter of reference in his federal trial. I'm being a little bit facetious. He repeated the cardinal saw fit to extend himself to that extent, and I must say that he was a little bit more reserved when I asked him to support Phil's right to a hearing on his parole in 1972. But maybe he's learned a lot since then.
Sure, he also testified before the,
On salt too.
yeah, on salt too.
Well, you know, he might surprise us. So we won't prejudge him any more than the jury should prejudge us. But I think we should ask him in writing.
Or hand-delivered note,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're not right, no?
No, I don't think you should bear my name. We've had correspondence before. But I think from the Plowshares as a group, the request should be delivered to them publicly.
Is Ramsey on?
I'm not sure. He may. I think he was going to get some grip. He's going to go get some grip. He and Mom, I guess, are going to go to the house where they are. Because it's easy. They have another
You're more
family.
They're probably not gonna get there by sunrise.
Lost if I try to get out of my domain. So we're going to expect it back.
I could find out.
They may go back and meet. They're going to meet at the house. You're not expecting them.
Let me run home for a few minutes. What are you just?
Let me just find out when supper would be, and that way, since of the time frame.
Yeah, I'm not all that concerned. I'm not concerned about two things, being prepared for that. You want to have some time to get this out.
Okay.
And then, checking to see.
I never say that.
Aren't we really before you go out to go? Let's put it that way.
We're just a second.
You're going to reassemble at the house, is that the idea? Yeah, okay. I'm going to go.
What time you have to be there, 9 o'clock? We have those things, those
The
packets.
statement, somebody does.
John has them.
John has them.
John has the whole
Okay.
packet.
The witness statement.
That's just the other point.
Maybe they ought to be divided up and just on two resolutions.
Yeah.
Operation, and if there was somebody witness,
I'm not the main speaker, I know, just get it prepared.
okay.
He hasn't decided to go to this kitchen.
He's the only one that was real tight.
He's got a lot to hold on to there.